All right, we'll do Izanami. Izanami. This character's awesome. Izanami's pretty badass. Let's see. Tanoshimaseo. Remember when they nerfed this character and she's still top tier? All right, so let me kind of explain a little bit of Izanami a little bit, because this character has been causing havoc throughout competitive BlazBlue for a long time. This character is really good, especially if you get to master all of her tools. That's when she becomes incredibly deadly and nobody likes fighting her. Everybody hates fighting her. You see her in top tournaments all the time. You see her winning all the time. It's crazy. All right, real quick, just really quick, chat. Who doesn't know anything about this character and why she's good? So there are a lot of people who don't know who Izanami is. Let me enlighten you guys and tell you why this character is so freaking good. I'm probably not going to do the best of jobs of explaining why, but I will try my absolute best, all right? So bear with me here. It's been a while since I've played. It's been a while since I played Izanami. So let's check this out. Okay, so what makes Izanami so freaking good? Why are so many people afraid of this character? Well, there's a couple reasons why, all right? The first thing that people will tell you about Izanami is this right here. Ribcage. Ribcage is a special move where the opponent cannot hit you. You cannot touch this character. Ribcage, I can interrupt them at any time. All right. Now, there must be a downside to this, and of course there is. This character would be broken otherwise. The downside right now is that it takes barrier meter. And barrier meter, what that is basically right there up above with where the HUD is. And what this does, it basically, when they're pressuring you, it pushes them away. And also, it prevents you from getting crush triggered. Crush triggers this. That's crush trigger. What that does is basically it breaks your guard. Oops. It breaks your guard like that. So when you barrier, it doesn't break the guard. So that's barrier. And so what happens when you use barrier, when you use ribcage, it slowly drains your barrier gauge. Now, if you run out of barrier, something very bad happens to you. You go into danger mode. And what that does is you take like a ton of damage, like unscaled raw damage. When you go into ribcage, you can get out of ribcage by simply doing this move right here. But the thing is, Izanami players know when to barrier and when to not barrier, or when to get out of barrier. Or if they just say YOLO, screw it, eventually I'm going to get in front of you and I'm going to hit you. And when that happens, I don't need barrier because I'm oppressing you. And that's the whole thing with Izanami. Izanami players don't give an absolute rat's ass whether or not they have barrier or not. Well, sometimes they do. Of course, you have to be careful with it, especially if the opponent knows how to play against Izanami. I mean, some characters might have a better time than others with Izanami, like S and Mai, and other characters too, of course. With that being said, when you activate Ribcage, you can either go low, you can go high, and it leads into a full combo. And you can stop doing the barrier right then and there. All right? Alongside that, alongside the Ribcage, she also has this, which is a stance where you can make things safe that aren't normally safe. Like, for example, like this. And you can make that safe. That's one thing. You can also use it to zone. You can use it to oppress. You can use it to make yourself safe, extend combos. Now, one thing about this stance is that you can't block in this stance. But if you combine it with Ribcage and you know how to use it effectively, then you're a force to be reckoned with, because you literally have a bunch of different resources, as well as a barrier that nobody can breach unless they grab. Also, so like that. You see how our barrier went away? So bursting and grabbing are the only ways to get rid of Ribcage. By the way, this is a nerfed Izanami. Izanami used to be way better than this. They nerfed her barrier consumption when he goes into Ribcage, so her Ribcage used to last even longer. And then they nerfed a couple other things that I won't get into really. So yeah, so I went over two things. They went over the Ribcage, and I went over the stance. I can't remember the name of the stance. But another thing as well, and this is a huge one, all right, and that is her float. She can use grounded normals in the air. She doesn't have a traditional double jump. She has a float like that. All right, and what this does is creates a huge oppressive, like the amount of pressure that Izanami can inflict onto you when one, her thing is her stance is activated, so she has the bits. Number two, when she has float and she can just straight up maul you. It's up to the opponent to know how to instant block. It's like perfect blocking. So if you block her pressure perfectly, there's gaps in between her pressure, because the frame data changes when you perfect or instant block in this case. Same thing with barrier blocking. So a mixture between of a lot of different defensive mechanics in this game can help you get out of Izanami pressure. But just to give you a little bit of an example as to what you can do, there's like a way for you to like be in the air like that, and then like, yeah, go into the like an instant overhead from the air, or you can just go, or you can like literally like go low like that. So it has some crazy pressure implications. But then after that is her Oki. Her Oki is like among the best in the game, because what was it? I can't remember the exact combo route, but it basically ends similarly to this. I'm gonna give you the worst example ever, but I'm gonna give you an example. Her Oki allows her to activate barrier, to activate her stance, and go into some crazy things. Like this is an overhead. This is a low overhead. The first hit's a low. The second hit's an overhead. You can also do like a command grab as well. Then she has Zawordo, which she can freaking stop time, so you can get demolished as well. And she can pose on you. So, you know, that's what I mean. When you put all this stuff together, you have an incredibly strong offense. And not to mention that she's also very slippery, because she has what's called a Murakumo dash, backdash. She has a Murakumo dash, which means that backdash right there. You see how it goes real far? Let me show you Susano's just for comparison's sake. That's a regular backdash right there. Okay? Like that. That's a Murakumo dash. And what that is just has a ton of invincibility. So she can get out of pressure pretty easily. Just like that. She has a lot of mobility. Not just that, but she can like float in the air. And then once she floats in the air, like go like this. And then she can like freaking go like that. And then rapid. Some nonsense like that. So she's got a whole ton of different things. The only thing she doesn't have is a good defensive option when she's actually getting pressured. So she has to rely on a super. And it's very unsafe if you block it. Or you can also RC it. A good Izanami will not come over here and be like, low-level Izanami players will do some crazy stuff, you know? They will literally go like this. This is what they will do. And then they go. That's what they do, all right? So yeah, the character, if I were to put Izanami in like a scale, I would character-wise, gameplay-wise, aesthetic-wise, 10 out of 10. So yeah, that's Izanami in a nutshell there. You guys now know why Izanami is, whenever there's like a Blaze Blue Major, at least in Japan or offline, you will see an Izanami player there, especially in Japan. Over here, not as much. We don't have that many Izanami players. We have, the one that I can think of that has been frequently in top 8s and in tournaments is Nano. There's probably a whole bunch of them. That's the one that I can think of that has done very well in tournaments. Yeah, you normally won't see Izanami too much online because she does require a little bit of execution with her float stuff and her conversions and stuff. Anyways, let me finish up this challenge mode with Izanami, and then we'll call it a night, huh?